oftentimes try harder after a failed prophecy to convert others. So this UFO cult that the sociologists studied actually went out and did more activity to try and convert more people after the failure of these prophecies. So what I'm going to do is I am going to leave it right for now. You'll hear this lecture, you'll learn about cults, and then what you'll learn about for the rest of the week is this concept called church and sect theory. You're going to do some reading for this, and what this is basically about is saying, well, okay, except for cults, what out there explains why religious organizations work the way they do? And sociologists dating all the way back to Max Weber have basically designed the system where they say, really, religious organizations, they're either a church, and this has a very technical meaning. What they mean by that is like a large-scale religious organization that encompasses all of a society. So religious groups are either a church or they're a sect, which is a small-cell breakaway religious organization. So like the Protestants broke away from the Catholic Church. Some groups of Baptists break away from other Baptists. Some group of Methodists are a breakaway from other groups of Protestants. And so we have this organizational form called the sect. Okay? And then one other piece of all this that they add is saying, well, in the United States, you also get this other thing called denominations. Okay, which is kind of a third type of religious organization. And the McGuire book, she has a very sophisticated way of talking about how to categorize religious organizations based on these different concepts. And for her, what it boils down to, two things. One, how much a religious group is in tension with its environment, and how much a religious group sees itself as unique or not. So I'm just giving a quick preview of this argument. And what I did to help you along or to help you understand the argument is I gave you a couple of articles, okay? And besides the McGuire book. Now read the McGuire book closely, but then look at these two other articles on the web. One of them is a very quick news vignette. It's about a religious group called the African Methodist Episcopal. It's a long-standing denomination, over 150 years old. And the article is about how a group is trying to break away from that denomination, is trying to reform the denomination. And this is a good example to us of a sect. A sect group is a group that spins off of another religious group. It maintains a similar organization. It maintains similar ideas, but it has some critiques and is trying to reform. Okay, so make sure to download that and look at that. The other thing connected to all this is make sure to download this handout that I put together that's on the web, where I take you through some Christian scriptures that show evidence of both church-like tendencies and sect-like tendencies. And by church-like, you read in the book, closely in the McGuire book, what we mean by church-like tendencies. And then read closely in the McGuire book what we mean by sect-like tendencies. And you'll see how in these Christian scriptures there's evidence for both of these types of tendencies. I'm going to leave it there for now, and then during spring break I'm going to put a follow-up lecture after you take a quiz this week on cults and church and sect and this sort of thing. I'll put a follow-up lecture about church and sect where I'll say a lot more, so you can catch that at the end of spring break if you want. And then after spring break we'll start into something totally new. Okay, so this is just a real quick intro on church and sect theory. But these are some of the things to pay attention to for that quiz. Things like tension, McGuire's argument about how tension and how uniqueness differentiates church and sects and denominations and cults. Pay attention to what she says about Max Weber, his argument about church and sects, and to pay attention to her argument, how she puts all these different religious types of religious groups together. Because remember, the key question here is, why do religious groups look the way they do? Okay, that's it for now. By the time you'll see me again, you'll either be in spring break or at the end of spring break. You are doing well. Keep up the good work and keep letting me know if you have questions. Okay, bye-bye.